Charlotte. Monday Speedway, and it's Monday after Richmond. These guys right here trying to figure out this car tomorrow, the swing car that NASCAR's got. The intermediate tracks handles like a dog. We just talked to Jeff Gordon. He knows what a dog feels like in Texas. Worst race of his career, just about. 43rd, couldn't drive it at all. So he's out here learning as much as he possibly can, and so is everybody else in NASCAR. This is a special test that NASCAR called because the drivers and the car owners and the crew chiefs wanted more practice time with this new monster. They had a good race at Charlotte last year. Will they have a good race this year? Well, we're going to see. If this test works out, all these stands behind me here are going to be jammed for next week's All-Star race and the following week for the Coke 600. And if not, might be some holes there. NASCAR's got to work some dew on this car tomorrow, and these guys are doing their best. But the real reason we were down here was to talk to Kyle Busch.
Well, it's great to be back on top of the point standings, and we were there earlier this year and kind of fell back a little bit, but we've had some great runs, we've had some strong runs, we've had some good cars, and so fortunately we were able to capitalize on those most of this year, and hopefully we can keep doing that throughout the year. Have a good test session here at Lowe's Motor Speedway, as well as getting on into Darlington and seeing what we can learn there with the new facility there, with the new racetrack, the paving job and everything, and being able to have a great run out there to just keep our momentum going. So it's been good, and hopefully it keeps going that way. As far as Earnhardt and myself, we race each other at the top level of NASCAR racing, and we know that it was a racing incident and racing hard with both of us, and then not really giving each other much room. That's a product of Richmond, and it's a product of the COT and the hard racing that it provides for us. So going back from the infield back to the motorhome, there wasn't anything, and then going from the motorhome to the helipad, there was a couple fans just yelling derogatory comments and stuff like that. But it's nothing new to me anyway, so I'm used to it. And I pretty much just told them that hey, grow up. It's racing. We're racing hard, and I feel like there's a lot more worse cases in this world than somebody getting spun out in a race.
Dale Sr. got booed for like 15 years. People think that they cheer him all the time now, or they were cheering him all the time in his last few years of racing, but he got booed worse than anybody. And he used to say if they weren't booing you, or if they weren't doing anything when you went up on stage, you just weren't doing your job. Does that give you a little sense of like, well, I know the big guy has been here and gone through this before, and hey, I can do it too?
Well, I don't think it's that I can do it too. I think that it's been a lot of great race car drivers over the years. I'm sure, I don't know about Richard or Lee Petty having it over the years, but I know of recent memory that Earnhardt Sr. was one of those guys, Rusty Wallace was one of those guys, Darrell Waltrip was one of those guys. So, to me, it's nothing new to this sport. Jeff Gordon, for instance, is one of those guys. He gets booed an awful lot, and Jimmy Johnson does as well too. So, it's nothing new in the sport. It's been here, it's been around, and driver intros, you just you don't pay attention to driver intros. You go out there, you get introduced. You put your sponsor's nameplate out there on your chest, and you stick it out there, and you keep your head up high and stay proud, and go out there and jump in your race car and let your racing do your talking. To be honest with you, I haven't seen it on film, besides my just little quick 8-inch monitor replay from the Fox Sports guys there after the race. But I was too busy getting home at 2:30 in the morning and getting up at 5:30 to go to Madison, Wisconsin yesterday, so I haven't had a chance to watch it. To me, would there be a chance to do something differently? Yeah, there's plenty of things that you could probably do differently. I could have been on a beach in South Carolina, or I could have been on the lake in North Carolina. I could have been at home in Las Vegas. It doesn't matter. But in that particular instance, we probably could have gave each other a little bit more room. I probably could have dove further to the bottom. Junior probably could have run, somewhat similar to the line that he had been running the previous run in the first couple laps of that restart, but he was trying to find something that would work better for his car so he could get away from me, and we just made contact, and unfortunately he got the worst front of it. I believe that ratings are up from what I hear, so that's good. As long as I can drive ratings, whether it's me or whether it's the racing is good, that's cool. I know what my status is in the garage area with the drivers. I know what my status is with the fans, and obviously it's a lot worse with the fans than it is in the garage area. So, for me, it was a tough scenario to have to go through last year. I hate it for my guys that I had with me working on the team last year. We were doing so well, and I think we finished in the top 5 in every race up to that point, and we were running 6th or 7th when we got wrecked. But, that had nothing to do with this past weekend's incident. That was just a product of hard racing on Saturday night. And last year. That's in the past. That's behind me. I'm focused more on what's going on this year with my new team, with Joe Gibbs Racing. And from what I remember, is they signed me on in order to go out there and win races, and that's what I was trying to do. Well, I hope we can talk about it and put it behind us. I've reached out to Junior. I've called him earlier this morning and got his voicemail. So I don't know what time he got here to get on track or whatnot, but hopefully we'll either see each other in the garage or he'll get back to me later or whatever. But maybe even tonight at Cinco de Mayo, we might even go party it up a little bit. So we'll see.
What would you even need to say to him?
Basically just talk it over a little bit, see what his feelings are, and what his what his outlook on the whole deal is and everything. I don't know what he said in here, but that could be different than what he tells me, what he talks to me about. So he's grown up knowing one of the best in the sport, and so I'm sure he's got a lot of knowledge that he can still relay to me. So I'd like to listen. Dale Jr. and I were both driving extremely hard, and we both were getting into the corner probably deeper than we had been all day, but that's because our brakes were cool, our tires were cool, and everything like that. So the first couple laps of the restart, Junior barreled it off into the corner really far, and he kind of shoved up the racetrack. So he was probably overdriving just as much as I was, if we were both at all anyway. But the capabilities of the car is what you got at that given point. You try to learn what those are, and you got to take it to that extreme. And so both of us were doing that, and there's really no etiquette for racing each other. No, you try to give as much room as you possibly can, and you're trying to yet take up the room that your car needs in order to make it go through the corner the fastest. So, for me, I felt like I was getting into the corners too low and then shoving up into the center and then not getting a good enough drive off. So when you arc it into the corner a little bit more, then you can get it through the center better and then get a straighter drive up off. And I think Junior was trying to either diamond the corner or whatever he was doing a little bit more or whatever, but end result was we made contact, and hopefully the past is the past now, and we can move on to the test session here at Charlotte, and get on into Darlington, have a good race there, and race everybody the same way we have all year long.
We wanted to talk to Dale Jr., Dale Earnhardt Jr., but he's a little busy right now, so we talked to Jeff Gordon about the situation at Richmond instead. Kyle took it like a man. He knows he's not the most popular driver in stock car racing right now, and that Dale Jr. probably is. But the last incident they had, going for the win, side by side, well, it was just racing. I'm sorry, it was just racing. Kyle was saying that he remembered a couple times last fall where Earnhardt tapped him a little too hard, and he felt that one of them might have cost him the championship. Dale was saying today that he can't be a hypocrite. At Kansas, he ran into Kyle Busch and probably did cost him the championship. That was in the late season. Kyle had been top 5 in the points at that point, running top 5 or top 6 in that race, and didn't have a very good outcome. But Kyle said that's last year, this is this year. He's already talked to Dale Jr. on the answer machine. He expects to talk to him sometime today. This is Cinco de Mayo. He says, hey, we might have a couple of brewskis and settle this thing, square it all away. But they both know it's racing. And one of the things that's so cool about this stuff is, even at this level, these guys are being very, very professional about the whole thing. They were very professional at Richmond and very professional here today. I think they're handling it quite well. That's the report. Monday at Charlotte's Lowe's Motor Speedway, a special NASCAR test. Kyle Busch and Dale Jr. settling, making peace, and then we're going to go to Darlington. 200 miles an hour going into the corners at Darlington. That ought to be quite a sight. Mike Mulhern for the Winston-Salem Journal and JournalNow.com.